Everybody out there in Facebook land, it's me, your old pal, Mistopher Christopher, and I'm here on the Mistopher Christopher show. It says at the bottom of the screen that this show is every week, and well, it's more like whenever I feel like it, because you know what? It's my show. And I'm here today with the beautiful, the lovely, the charming Reku Morello and Brendan Morello from Sydney, Australia.
Hello, everybody.
Hey, everyone. Hey, Chris. How are we?
Hi, Chris. How are you?
I'm very, very well. I'm here in Brisbane and you're in Sydney, and we're talking to everyone today about the difference between being live in a class and being online. So before we jumped on the live here, Reku and Brendan were talking about the fact that they're relatively new to taking access consciousness classes, and in a way, they describe themselves as COVID babies because they sort of discovered it during that time, and as a result, attended a lot of classes online. Would you agree?
Yes.
Yeah.
We were like about 18 months, baby.
In
COVID
consciousness,
baby.
we're 18 months in.
Well, I don't know. Is that 18 months in consciousness or 18 months in access?
In access.
In access, yeah.
Exactly. That's the thing about consciousness, right? The way access defines or describes consciousness is that it includes everything and judges nothing. So how many other things have we all done throughout our lifetime to create more consciousness and have more awareness in our lives? And what I've loved about access and has kept me, because relative to you guys, you're saying 18 months. For me, it's been more like 14, 15 years with access consciousness. And it's just been so effective and so pragmatic and so useful that's kept me coming again and again and again. So tell me what it's been like for you guys attending classes online.
Well, for me, I don't think I have ever attended something like an online class, so in any format. And I always prefer the live, like a live workshop, because I'm a yoga teacher. So anything workshopy type thing, I would rather go to the live instead of doing it online. And so that was my points of view before COVID hit. But then we were on lockdown and we couldn't go anywhere. And that's when this online is opened the door of like a massive possibilities. Like, oh, I can take this and this and this and this and this. So it's different, yet that it for us contributed so much.
I would even dare say that online classes are normal for me. It's almost as if a live class is like a novelty, something that just seems normal because I don't have to compare, previous to COVID in that sense. So in fact, live classes are something could be like a novelty at this point. So there's nothing to compare with it too much.
I remember when we chose to go to Brisbane, and I met you then at the for Simon COP class. That was our very first live class to attend. And before then, we have been taking a lot of online classes. So we saw you, Chris, on online, and a few other people online, and we were like, it's like excitement of, we're going to see those celebrities kind of excitement, if that makes sense, because we only saw you guys online.
That is so cool. Well, I'm super excited because, as I say, I've been facilitating for such a relatively somewhat long time compared to some people. And it was a big adjustment when COVID hit and we had to switch to Zoom. Doesn't it even feel weird now talking about COVID? When is the last time you heard them in the news even mention it? For the last 2 weeks, all they've talked about is the war in Ukraine and the weather.
Yeah.
It's like COVID doesn't exist anymore. And everyone's like slowly creeping out of their houses and into the world and going, what's going on? We opened a new shop in Brisbane for one of the businesses that we have here, the Antique Guild, and it's in a building downtown where there's like a hotel or a private club that's in the same area, and I go in every day and punch my parking card, so I get cheaper parking. And there was the lady sitting at the desk who I've seen her like every day for the past maybe 4 or 5 months. And I walked in yesterday and I looked at her and I went, wow, I have never seen her face. Because she's always been covered by a mask. And I looked at her and I was like, wow, I know you, but I don't know where from. You're so familiar. And it was amazing to me to realize I'd never seen her without a mask on.
Wow, that's interesting.
So now that COVID is coming to an end, I'm so excited to get back to classes live in person. And there's something scary about it.
Well, talking about the scary, was it last year you did the Right Voice for You online?
Yep.
So I actually haven't taken your Right Voice for You or anybody's Right Voice for You class yet. So this coming Sydney one, your one, is my very first one. And yes, definitely the scary, that is the word, is up there.
Yeah, isn't that interesting? Because when you attend online, it's really different because you're not considering anybody else in the room and what they might be thinking or anything else, or even them looking at you, because everyone assumes they're looking at the screen at whoever the presenter is. But suddenly, if we're all live in the room together, and Right Voice for You is an incredibly interactive class, like it's not a class where you can just sit at the back of the room and run bars. We do a lot of activities, and even way more than what you would have done, Brendan, because it had to change. The class had to change so much to do it online, and we got to some really amazing things. Like, for those out there listening who don't know what Right Voice for You really is, it's a specialty class within Access Consciousness where we look at basically you showing up in the world and showing up in your life and giving voice to your creations. Like in the world of literature and art, we often talk about your voice or having your voice, and it could almost be likened to your particular style or personality or your sense of being out in the world. And as a class and as a modality, that can go so many different places. Like us here on this Zoom today, we're connecting through the miracle of technology to thousands and thousands of people. And when you get online in front of a camera, that brings up a lot for different people. So we've gotten to explore that for the last 2 years, but now it's almost like stepping out naked again in front of people in a room.
I wanted to ask you about when was your first Right Voice for You class, and how that class kind of made you, well, what made you choose it? That was my first question. And then how that class kind of contributed to you in your life.
Wow, that's a big conversation. So I, like many of my favorite things in my life, fell into this kind of backwards, quote unquote. I don't believe that's actually true, but that's the story that I tell people. My point of view is anything that occurs for you is your choice. It doesn't happen to you. I just have a particular way of attracting these sorts of things where it seems like luck. I was in London with Gary Douglas, the founder of Access Consciousness, and we were having a drink in a bar, and he got off the phone and he looked at me and he said, I need someone new to lead Right Voice for You. You do it. And I went, okay. He said, but there's one small problem, Gary. I've never been to a Right Voice for You class. He said, you'll be fine. Don't worry about it. So I started listening to all of the first classes that he ever did about it. And when Right Voice for You was born, it was actually called Expanding the Creative Base of Your Life. And it was a class about creativity and creation and being seen, but not being seen because you need the validation of it. So it was about that kind of level of vulnerability and cultivating that genuine sense of presence where you are engaging with the people in front of you by being there and being you and allowing you out, but also receiving from whoever you're with. So there's this like magical exchange that occurs. Mm. And when I heard those first classes and he was describing that, I was like, just awestruck. Like, a story that I've told a lot in classes is that as a younger person, and even not that young person, one of the things that I really struggled with was feeling really separate from everybody. And it wasn't a case of being shy, because I'm not shy. I'm always willing to like be heard and be seen and have that kind of gregarious, outgoing personality. But I always felt separate from everybody. And I had decided that I was going to change that. And I asked Gary about it at a class. And I said to him, okay, I really want to shift this. I would like to invite everyone into my world, because I felt like I was like in a shell hiding. And he said, yeah, but that's not the thing. That's not your issue. He said, you let everybody in. You receive so much from everybody and you're so aware of what's going on around you. The issue is you won't let you out. You've got to include you in everyone else's world. And I'd like to tell that story with relation to Right Voice for You, because that's really what it has become and what it is. It's about letting you and your creations and the magic that is your voice out into the world so that it can enrich their lives. Like so many people that I know that are shy and try and like not be the center of attention or not be noticed. They're actually depriving the world of it being as rich and vibrant and vivid as it could be, from my point of view. And Right Voice for You that's what it's become all about. It's whether you're online here in front of a camera or you're live in front of a group of people in a room, you don't have a point of view. Who is there looking, who's judging, who has a point of view, but what you're choosing, and you just choose what works for you. You choose to have the life and future that you would like to have. So that's the Reader's Digest version in answer to your question, Reiku, because that's like, Right Voice continues to change so much for me in my life. And what I keep asking now is, okay, what would I like Right Voice to be? And where would I like Right Voice to be in 5 years? We have facilitators all over the world in different languages. And some of them are singers, but I really have to dispel that myth for anyone looking at this class coming. It really is not about singing. It's not about performing. It's about being present with whatever your creations are. You could be a salesperson, a lawyer. I had a woman come to a class I did in Auckland, New Zealand, who worked for the Australian Taxation Office. And she got so much out of the class, and I could see her relax and step into more of her in a way that was so inspiring for me. from that same class, I just got a message 2 days ago from a lady who she does like sound healings and different kinds of acoustical performance, but not exactly performance. They're these expressions that she is. And she was invited to do one of her sound healings at a demonstration for the Wellington vaccine mandates in New Zealand that are going on. And that used to terrify her, that kind of possibility. But she did it with no point of view and total presence and this expanded sense of who she is. And she sent me a message afterwards on Facebook going, oh my God, I never would have been able to do that without freaking out. And I was nervous, but it didn't stop me. And I was totally there and it was great, which I was like, yes, that's what this is for.
That's amazing.
Mm.
Well, just hearing your story and having that, for me, that for the last couple of years of the insanity of the world, it really showed that how important that is to having your own voice. Like the I can't describe it well in here. It's like more than ever, now is the time to really step up, to be more you.
Mm.
And for me, that right voice for you, the way you describe it it's that, be seen without having any point of view and just really embracing being you and then express whatever way that's fun for you.
Totally. And as you said, now more than ever. Because there's some crazy stuff going on in the world that we live in. And there's a lot of confusion today about what's true. Have you noticed that, like, I remember growing up and say 20 years ago, you'd have the news and you'd have the newspaper, and there was a clearer sense then of what was true and what was not. I'm sure we were being fed all kinds of lies. But at the moment, the line is blurred and no one is sure what to believe anymore, because we've had some people in the news and some people in positions of political power just so blatantly lying, but with such conviction, and that no one's sure anymore. And so you end up with populations of people with really divided opinions about what is actually occurring, and really strong points of view about what's right and what's wrong. And what I've loved to go back to your question about what right voice for you has done for me is it really has given me the awareness and the capacity to sift through all that and find out what's true for me.
That.
And not needing anyone else to align and agree with me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
well, a lot of people are not choosing that as well. You see, there's a lot of people that it's much easier not to follow what's true for you, because then you run the risk of standing out from the crowd. And how many people are not choosing that? And that's okay too. It's not about being, this is the right way or the wrong way. But there is a sense of when you follow what's true for you or what you know, there's less confusion in your world, and you're more present in your world because you're not looking to hide from what we all know, but some of us choose to know what's true for us.
Yeah, exactly. And the beauty of knowing what's true for you is not the same as being right. Some people try to get away from confusion by deciding what's right and sticking to that. this class, like I mentioned when we started, that this class of Right Voice for You can be about, you know, sharing the gift of you and your style and your creations and you, that beauty and signature of you out there, but not an image of you, and not what you've decided is the right version of you that people are going to like, but the gift of what that is when you are always in question about it, not trying to present a definition of who you are to anyone.
Well, you mentioned something earlier about validation. That was, you know, doing it for validation. You know, a lot of people do social media for validation. How many likes can you get? You know, so, and it's always in judgment the whole time of saying the right thing, but also getting approval. And that doesn't really, you know, how does that work? Is, you know, you just continue ping pong between, you know, right and wrong, and creates a lot more unease, doesn't it? And really it's just fitting in on another level.
Totally. Well, it's like, okay, so you have a background with music, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So can you tell me more about that? What kind of music did you make, or do you make?
Well, I wrote music for 20 years and played in bands, and I really wrote music that just inspired me. I worked with one singer in particular, and we had lots of different outfits, lots of different projects, and it was more about, so we changed styles a lot, and it was never about following a particular style. It was what inspired us. So we did a lot of styles and had some success, but also, you know, a lot of things didn't get noticed as well. So, but it was, for me, it was all about what inspired me more than anything else.
And that's to me the fun part. Is looking for at that inspiration. What gives you joy when you're producing it? What gives you that enthusiasm to create? I mean, to me, that's what inspiration does. It's that breathing of life into something new, because everything we produce, whether it's a song that you've written or a yoga class that Reiku teaches, or what, it's a life force of its own. And when we don't care who likes it, and we don't care what anyone's going to think, it's so freeing what we start to allow ourselves to come out of us.
Yeah. I remember my early days of becoming a yoga teacher, and I started to teach a class, and I decided what theme it's going to be. And I picked up like one of those phrases from the book, which is, I didn't even understand what that meant. And then I was reading the book. Then I could sense the student's head, like, what are you talking about? And everybody just went. And so I lost the connection with them because I was decided that this is the way, or this is what I was going to do. So from that experience, I learned it more of, okay, what kind of comes to me, rather than it has to be this way, has to be that way. And once you realize that I'm different and I'm weird, and I probably teach very differently from anybody else, and it's actually fun. Okay, how weird can I be?
Totally. One thing that really strikes me about you, Reiku, is you do seem to have a really personal sense of style, like how you dress, how you present yourself. You're obviously doing it for you and from you, not like because it's what everyone says you should buy and look like and blah, 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 you know? And I would love to explore that more. Like, when you,
I would love to explore that too.
Yeah. Like, I've been reading a lot and listening to different people talk about style. And I've been looking at that with right voice, because, you know, whether you're a musician or a painter or you're a writer or a business person, it doesn't matter. We have these creations that come out of us. How you dress every day is a creation that comes out of you, and you share it with the world. It's part of how you articulate yourself. And some people don't really think about it, and it's just like, whatever, I put on a shirt and I go. And some people have this more evolved palate and taste with what they do. Again, it's so easy to fall into the trap of trying to get that right and doing it to manufacture a response from people so that you get more followers, more likes, more popularity. The way that, like, there was one guy I was watching, and this guy was so cool. He's dead now, but he was being interviewed by David Letterman in the 80s with this video I was watching. And he was talking about the difference between style and fashion. And he said, fashion is when you look to the magazines to tell you how you should dress. It's when you have no idea who you are and look to be told what you should be doing. And style is what comes out of you when you know who you are and are willing to explore and evolve that constantly.
I love that.
Yeah, I love that too. And I'm so looking forward to playing with that more.
Talking about that fashion and style, I was born in suburban Tokyo, and I grew up in Tokyo. So when I go out, I go to this big town of Shibuya, or this major town, and I always, from the young age, in Tokyo, there's a lot of fashion going on, and I loved it. Yet, the more and more recently, every time I go back home, I noticed that there's all fashion, like a manufactured fashion. Everybody looks the same. And anybody who catches my eyes, these are the people who got the styles. Like, ooh, that's cool. Like, ooh, that's a bit different. And I always kind of drawn to those people.
Me too. Totally. There's a sense of something different, and I hate saying this, but there's almost an honesty to it. Or there's something true about it because it's come from them, not from being told to do it. You know, it's the same. I'm sure you noticed as well, Brendan, in the music world, there was a lot of music written because it would sell and people would like it, not because it was necessarily all that inspired, to use your word.
Well, music tends to be a bit of a fashion thing, you know, whatever's going. People, it's like someone creates something that's perhaps new in some way, and then it starts to sell, and everyone goes, "Oh, we need to do that. We need to," and then people you have carbon copies of something that someone created, this original idea or had the spark of creativity, and everyone kind of just follows that instead of looking at what's true for them. And then it never really works out for those people most of the time. You know, if you look at the artists through the people that created something, those artists stay, they endure, and they still reinvent themselves, but they're always doing what's true for them, and they're the ones that last. Whereas the people that follow and don't explore what's true for them, they tend to just be forgotten pretty quickly.
Yeah, and I don't know about you, and I know it's probably true for Reiku, is I would find that so boring.
I don't know how to do it. I never knew how to do it. And we were it's funny though, when you're doing one thing but you're not getting the results. You know, this is a long time before doing Access, and still being a lot of judgment of myself for not getting the success, because we were never creating for success, but we were judging ourselves based on whether we were successful or not. So we weren't one of the, we could never really follow what anyone else was doing because we just did our own thing. But then at the same time, we were trying to judge ourselves based on how much success we were getting. So there was that kind of validation that you're looking for.
There it is again, the validation of success and the validation of a result.
Yeah, and not looking at future, having an idea, sense of future, which Gary talks about and a lot of people in Access talk about. What future are you creating beyond, if you know, like, you know, if you're an Access facilitator, you know, if you change one person's life, you're a success. You know, if you relate it to like music or art, you know, if you make an impression on one person or inspire someone else to create their own art, then is that that's a success. But, you know, if you're looking at if you're just chasing commercial success or validation from your peers or whoever you consider to be, whoever you think their opinion is the most important opinion that you want to satisfy or gain validation from, then it's sort of a never-ending chasing your tail. Not much fun.
Not much fun, chasing your tail, and boring.
Yeah, very boring. So.
And the funny thing about it that I've noticed over the years too is as soon as you stop looking for validation, everyone starts giving it to you. When you no longer have the need in your world of being recognized for being great or brilliant or whatever, they all start telling you you are. And you're like, this is so funny. Well, I'm looking forward to it. We're there in Sydney in a couple weeks, and ooh, it's gonna be good.
Very exciting.
Yeah, very exciting.
So I'm just gonna post in the chat here for everybody the link if you'd like to go to the Access Consciousness site and register. And also, I think I have here we go. There's a little banner there on the bottom of the screen. If you would like to go to the mrchristopherhughes.com website /events, and you'll find out more about the class as well. Unfortunately, this one is not offered online, so you'd have to come to Sydney if you would like to be a part of this. But come on, who needs an excuse to come to Sydney? Let's go.
Exactly.
Have some fun. Shopping, galleries, restaurants, consciousness. What else is possible?
Exactly. What else is possible?
Yeah.
So thank you guys so much for this wonderful conversation. I'm looking forward to a bright, beautiful, big, fabulous class.
Thank you, Chris. How's it getting better? It's going to be so much fun.
Yes,
can't wait.
I can't wait. Thank
Bye,
you.
guys.
Bye. See ya.